back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. So for the past few weeks, I have been pretty much going crazy doing all the last few things that I have left before the baby arrives. So I kind of wanted to do for today's video like a pregnancy checklist or a pregnancy to do, so that I can help out any mom that kind of feels like me around this time. This is going to be a checklist or to-do list, whatever you want to call it, of things that you can do all throughout your pregnancy so that you don't have it all piled up at the end of the pregnancy, kind of sort of like I did. So I wanted to do this to help you guys out. Let me know if you do end up using it. Let me know if there are some things that I forgot. Like always, I tell you guys to leave me in the comments any suggestions, any questions. And I really do hope that you like this video. Don't forget to share with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe below. Okay, so like I mentioned at the beginning, this checklist or to do, again, whatever you want to call it, is going to be for the whole pregnancy. So I'm going to be sharing things from the beginning of the pregnancy, things that it's recommended for you every week or like every trimester. So I'm going to start with the first trimester, of course, and this is for weeks between 1 and 4. Now, obviously, between 1 and 4, you probably still don't know that you're pregnant. Some women do find out before they are 4 weeks before they miss their first period. For example, I found out probably at week 3 and maybe a few days. But I found out before the 4 weeks. So if you did find out before the 4 weeks, these are some things that you could do to kind of like start preparing for the pregnancy. Of course, some of the things are that you need to stop smoking, stop drinking alcohol, cut down a little bit on the caffeine. Let's see, you could start taking prenatals if you already have like an idea on the prenatal that you want to take. If you want to just wait until you meet with your gynecologist first, then great. But some women already know the type of prenatal they want to take, so if you already know, then that's something you could start. You could start eating a well-balanced diet. If you are active, you know, obviously continue to stay active, but maybe modify your workouts a little bit. And check on your medications. Make sure that they're all safe for pregnancy. Again, this is something that you could also wait on to meet with your gynecologist first. Now, for weeks between 5 and 8, this is probably when you're starting to find out that you are pregnant. So obviously take a pregnancy test. You could go take a blood test to confirm the pregnancy if you would like. Some people, this is when they start sharing the news with their partner. I told my husband the second I found out, so we both knew before I was 4 weeks. You can start calling your OBGYN to, again, either schedule the blood test. Some do an early ultrasound to confirm the pregnancy. So start calling them to let them know that you might be pregnant. You can start a pregnancy diary to kind of start writing down how you're feeling, any changes that you notice in your body, things like that. There are some foods that you're not able to eat while you're pregnant, so start finding out what those are. Obviously, when you do visit your OBGYN for the first time, they will let you know these things, but you can also start doing some research. That way you have, you know, if you have any questions, you can ask your OBGYN on that first visit. For this next one, it might be a little bit too early, but it's never too early to start finding out about information on your insurance, how it would change, the policy, find out all that. Later on, you can still find out a little bit later on, but you can start doing the research on your insurance policy. Obviously, this is when you'll have your first prenatal checkup. So scheduling that, going to your first prenatal checkup. And another thing that a lot of women start doing around week 5 and 8 is that they start a budget for either the maternity clothing. They start talking with their partner about school budgeting for the kids. You know, these type of things that later on you will have to have the conversation with your partner. You can kind of start either doing some research about it, finding out like what's the budget around the area where you live. Start thinking about these types of conversations because it's definitely something that you'll have to speak about with your partner. Now, between weeks 6 and 12, This is when you might start needing to buy some maternity clothing. Depending on how soon you show, you might not have to start this until a little bit later on. But if you are already showing a little bit, then you can start buying some maternity clothing. You can start thinking about how you want your birth plan to be. Obviously, it doesn't have to be a final plan yet, but you can start doing some research on how you want your birth plan. You know, if you want a home birth, if you want to go to the hospital, whatever it is that you want to do, you can start doing some research about it. You can also start taking your weekly pictures or your monthly pictures, however you're going to be doing it, so that you can compare your belly for every week or every month. So you can start taking your pictures, and you will also have another prenatal check between these weeks. Now, for your second trimester, between weeks 12 and 16, this is usually when people start sharing the news to their family. So you can start sharing the news to the family, letting them know that a baby's coming. You can start doing some research about your maternity leave, how your job handles maternity leave. By this point, this is actually when I started doing the research. You know, find out how long they give you short-term disability, which allows you to get paid while you're away. So find out all these things, because this is definitely something very important, something that you will need to know before you give birth. You know, you don't want to wait until it's too late and then you find out that it's not covered, that you don't have it. So it's good for you to find out early, so that in case you have to make any arrangements, you already know what it is that you need to do. It's also around the time when you want to start sharing the news with your boss, so that they're aware that you will be leaving for a certain amount of time in a few months. So let them know, you know, if you feel comfortable letting them know, you can start letting them know around these weeks. And also, because if you are the type of woman that gets sick a lot during their pregnancy, you want to let them know what's going on with you, so that they're not just thinking that you're making up excuses and things like that. So this is around the time, or even if you already did it earlier, but this is around the time when usually you start telling your boss that you're expecting. Around these weeks, you would have another prenatal check, but also they might start recommending you to do your Kegel exercises, to start sleeping on your side, which is healthier for during pregnancy. So start sleeping on your side so that you start getting used to it if you're not a person that sleeps on your side. Now, between weeks 16 and 20, this is when you start gathering ideas of how you want your nursery. So start thinking of how you want to decorate it. So this is when you decide whether you do want to find out the gender of your baby, because this is the time when you will find out the gender of your baby. You can either do the blood test, or during your 20-week checkup that they do your ultrasound, you can also find out the gender there. So figure out if you do want to know the gender of your baby. And usually this is when your belly starts popping out. This is when you start feeling the baby usually. So, you know, start documenting these things. Make sure that you are taking your belly pictures, again, whether it is weekly or monthly, however you're doing it, but make sure that you're documenting these things, because you're definitely going to want to know. You're going to want to keep this as a memory. Now, between weeks 20 and 24, this I wasn't able to do because of the pandemic that's going on right now, but you can go on your baby moon. Baby moon is pretty much like a honeymoon for you and your partner before the baby arrives. This is kind of like your last getaway before the baby. So if you're able to go on your baby moon between these weeks, you can also start researching about the pediatrician that you want to go with. You can start signing up for childbirth classes, breastfeeding classes, and all these things. And you can start creating your baby registry. You can start thinking about your baby shower, who's going to be going, how you want it to be, the decorations, and all these things. Start thinking about it, not to plan it completely, but start thinking about it. And again, your prenatal checkup. And then between weeks 24 and 28, you want to find out about the 401k on your job to see if you have to make any changes. Start thinking about names if you haven't done so already. My hubby and I, we started thinking about names pretty early, and if you haven't seen it yet, I did a video on baby girl names and baby boy names. I will tag both of them right here so that you can get some ideas and start thinking about your baby's name. This is also when you might need to take your glucose test. So definitely schedule that so that you can take that test and make sure that there's no risk of diabetes during your pregnancy or low iron or anything. So start finding out, because your OBGYN will want you to take that test. Now for the third trimester, this is when a lot of the things on the checklist start. This is pretty much when you do the most on your third trimester. And the reason why is because it's getting closer to baby time, and you've probably already either had your baby shower or you're very close to having your baby shower. So you're starting to have a lot of things for baby that you're going to need to organize. So the third trimester is pretty much when you have the most to do. So again, that's the reason why I wanted to do the checklist, to kind of help you out and figure out some of the things that you should be doing every week to help you stay a little bit more organized. Now between weeks 28 and 32, again, you're already feeling baby at this point, so start counting the kicks, start paying attention to how your baby moves. Take a time in the morning and a time at night to kind of keep track of how baby moves, the kicks, and all these things, because if you notice any sudden changes, you definitely want to let your OBGYN know right away. At this point, you should have a better idea of your birth plan, so definitely try to finalize how it is that you want your birth plan to be. Write it down if possible, so that if you are going to the hospital or whatever it is that you're doing, you already have that plan. Obviously, not everything goes as planned. It would be great if everything does go as planned, but a lot of things may change. Emergencies might happen. Things always change, but it's good to always have a plan so that you're not just like guessing, like, oh, what am I doing now? What am I doing with this? What am I doing with that? So have an idea of your birth plan. Some people at this point also start making freezer meals so that when you come home with baby, you don't have to worry about cooking. You can do this either at this point or a little bit later on, depending on the meals that you make, I guess. But this is a good idea for you to start doing, and again, that way you don't have to worry so much about the meals for when you come back home. Or like if you're going to have maybe like a family member or friends bring you food, like see what it is that you're going to be doing for that, for your food, because you're gonna need to eat. Obviously, attend your birth classes, your breastfeeding classes. With the situation right now, that's not really possible. They're not doing classes that you can go to, but they are doing online classes. So if you are pregnant around this time, make sure that you find out which ones they are offering online so that you can attend them and take these classes. Research with your insurance company about a breast pump. A lot of insurance companies, they do offer a free breast pump, so find out with yours to see if it's something that they offer. If they don't, find out how you can get one and things like that. So your prenatal checkups around this point are now going to be every 2 weeks, so plan ahead for those, schedule those, and if your hospital is doing it, make sure that you do the hospital tour so that you know where to go when it's baby time. So for weeks 32 and 36, this is probably when you'll have the most to do, because this is probably when you're having your baby shower. If you haven't done it already, start sending your thank you notes, start checking your list for anything very important that you might need before the baby arrives so that you can purchase those. Put the finishing touches on your baby nursery. Wash any clothes that you might use for the first month, or any clothes that you might be putting in your baby's bag for the hospital. If you haven't seen my video already, I would link it up here as well for what I'm taking for baby for the hospital. But you can start washing those clothes. Prepare your hospital bag, which is the same video that I just linked above. Make sure that you have that ready. Make sure that dad has his bag ready. You would also have another prenatal checkups. Again, at this point, it's still every 2 weeks. And you would also have your Group B test for around this time frame, between 35 and 37. It's when I believe they do it. So these are some of the things that you will need to do. Obviously, organize everything at home for baby, get prepared for baby, and things like that. And then for your final weeks, this is going to be between 36 and 40. Yes, 36 and 40. I had to double check. This is when you want to just put like the final touches on everything. So make sure that you put the car seat in your car. Make sure that you also pre-register for the hospital if your hospital allows it. I already pre-registered for my hospital, so make sure that you do that. Make sure that you have a plan for, let's say you have other kids or pets, make sure that you have a plan of what it is that you're going to do with them while you're at the hospital, or you know, the moment that you go into labor. So have a plan for that, and you will have now weekly prenatal checkups. So that is another thing that you should be doing around these weeks. Another thing that you want to do for around this time is to download a contraction app so that you can kind of keep track of your contractions when you start getting them. So you see how long they are, how far apart they are, and all these things. But anyways, that's pretty much the checklist that I had for your pregnancy. I wanted to do it weekly so that it can kind of, well, not really weekly, it's mostly like a monthly type thing, but I wanted to do it that way so that, you know, you start preparing since the beginning of your pregnancy for, you know, for when the baby arrives. You want to do the things, you know, in a certain type of order. You can always rearrange some of these things, but it's just so that you don't have everything, like I said at the beginning, you don't have everything piled up at the end of your pregnancy and you're kind of like rushing and trying to get things done and all that. So I wanted to kind of do this for you guys in hopes that, you know, you have an easier going pregnancy and you're not going crazy. But again, let me know if there are some things that I missed. If you have any recommendations, any questions or anything, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. And I hope to see you on my next video. Bye.